Let's just get going. Welcome to the Dude Catholic Podcast. I'm your co-host Adrian here with a man. And everyone knows that a picture is worth 1,000 words, but a picture of Ramon is not allowed to speak.
Ramon.
Yeah, you are. See, I didn't think it was going to make you laugh. I thought it was one of those that I thought was funny, but you weren't going to think was funny.
Ramon.
Yeah, you are. Today, we begin a series titled, The Engerish is Hawd, with an episode titled,
Where You're At.
That's right. Our scripture today comes from
The book of Acts, chapter 1, verse 8. And ye shall be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and to the end of the earth.
Delicious.
Delicious indeed. So let's get this podcast on the road. So today we're going to really focus on evangelization. I mean, that's the series. The series is on evangelization. Shout out to Shaggy, Andy, Courtney, if you may. Is his nickname Andy or is it Shaggy? I don't know. The world may never know. But indeed, he is. The reason why we're doing this series, because he gave us the idea a long time ago. And I was just like, I was kind of intimidated about the series because I think we overthink everything. You know, just like evangelization, we overthink it. We think that, we have to go really outside of our comfort zone. And you know what? We do have to go outside of our comfort zone to do anything that we've never done before. But the fact of the matter is that we live in evangelization. You know, we're supposed to be living it. Because this episode is all about living it. It's about being it. It's about doing it, you know, doing that evangelization thing where we're at in our lives. Because I cannot, at this point in my life, evangelize like a single man. I cannot evangelize like Ramon right now. You know why? Because I'm a married man. Because I have kids. So I have to evangelize like a married man with kids. You know, it's one of the things that I've been telling my my students via online learning right now. It sucks, by the way. No one likes it. Not one. I surveyed all my students. I asked all of them, over 100 kids online, you know, just raise your hand if you actually like online learning. Not one, dude. Not one. They're all sick of it because they've been doing this since like March of last school year, you know, but one of the things that I told them was like, just show up on time. I'm kind of stealing from the coach. I'm taking from the coach here, you know, the 2 rules: show up on time and do your best. You know, you can't do anyone else's best, just like I can't do Ramon's best. I wouldn't even try. And no one else can do my best because I was built to do my best and you were built to do your best. And so that's one of the reasons why we're doing this episode, because we don't have to go that far. You know, we're always saying, like, just do what you're supposed to, and you're going to out-hustle 75% of the workforce. You know, you're going to out-hustle most of the people out there by just doing what you're supposed to be doing. And so the same thing goes to evangelization, like just being who you are, where you are, the best version of who you are. You know, you can only be the best you, but you can't be the best you without following God. Everything outside of following God is going to be mediocre. And the amazing thing about grace is that it makes up for all the other crap that's in our lives, you know, all the other inequities. Because let me just be honest with everyone right now. I don't feel too worthy. And it may just be me being scrupulous because I haven't been to confession in like 2 months already. Just probably maybe even more. It's just that I've been lazy. You know, I haven't been making the effort, and I keep letting things get in the way of me giving my soul the maintenance it needs. You know, the maintenance it needs. I don't even know if I'm speaking correctly, because as the title of this series says, the Engerish is indeed hard. But But that's the thing, you know, like we are not called to be the best version of anyone else but ourselves.
That's kind of what Jesus did with the apostles.
Yeah.
He just he went to the beach and he saw these dudes, and somehow he saw how great they were. And I'm not talking about how great they looked and all their awesome accomplishments, because they're just some dudes that are just fishing. So there was nothing particularly special about these guys, but there was something that Jesus saw in them, and that I'm too ignorant to actually explain it correctly. But he said, "Drop everything and come with me," and they did. And that was it. There wasn't much convincing to be done. It was just, okay, we'll do that. We'll go do that. You see, I think deep down in not that deep, maybe, but in our hearts, we have this desire for something more, for more than the world has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe sometimes that's why we feel empty. And maybe that's why sometimes we feel so uneasy about certain things and not completely satisfied, no matter how successful we think we are, or whatever the case may be. I remember when I first showed up to a certain unit of assignment at a certain location, and
Very specific.
and, and you know, the people there got to know me pretty good, and I'm very talkative, and sometimes, and like I have a pretty decent personality, you know, very outgoing and very helpful and what have you. And then they were talking about like cheating on your girlfriend or your wife, and how that's very normal actually. And then somebody looked at me and they said, "Yeah, Garcia's dirty. I can already tell by the way he is." And it just, it's like, wow, man, like, do I really look like that? Do I really look like I'm a cheater? Do I really look like I'm a flirt or whatever? And instead of getting offended or getting, defending my position too much, I just asked, like, why do you say that? Like, what makes you say that? And then they started describing how I can make people feel not just good, but make them feel valuable, make them feel important. How I can talk to people, and I don't know how to say this in a clean way, but well, actually, there's nothing dirty about this, but just how, like, in a very seductive way, I can get people's attention in person, probably not in the podcast because I suck on the podcast, but like in person, I can actually engage people, and then they tend to gravitate towards me even if they don't like me. And even if they don't like me at the end of the interaction, they'll at least say, "I will deal with that little Hispanic guy again because I was treated with respect and he kept it real." And that's happened many times. Like, really, you think I'm dirty and I'm a cheater because I have all these qualities, that not because of my own doing, but because those are gifts that my God gave me to evangelize. Like the scripture says, you're going to be my witness from here to the end of the earth. And maybe that's what Jesus saw in Peter and all the other apostles. Yeah, they're probably not that impressive looking, but there's something special about these guys, because I know that God gave us certain gifts to each and every one of us to go out there and be a witness.
As human beings, we have this natural ability to project our identity, or what we believe we are, not even our identity, sometimes even our mistaken sense of who we are. And we project that into the world. Like if I, at the core of my being, have this self-loathing, I will project that into the world. It's like if you hang out with people that smoke pot, they think that everyone smokes pot. And we all know someone like that, or we've all known or talked to a group of people that are like that, Like we're like, oh, and I've seen them do it, like they just look at someone, they're like, oh, he places, you know, and they have no idea. They just see something. They may even see something that they like because there's something in themselves that they like, and they just project whatever it is, even if it's a vice that's their preferred vice, and they project that into someone else. So it's kind of funny that they say something like that. It's because they think about the quality that you have, and maybe they're thinking, you know what, I wish I had that quality so I can do this thing even more. Because it would make their vice a lot easier to come by. And it's just an interesting thing that people that we don't count me out. Like we think that way. I can't think of the last time I did something like that, but I can tell you, sometimes like, speaking about self-loathing, um, it keeps me away from doing great things. Like holiness is so accessible to all of us. It's so accessible because it's given unto us, given our situation at life. But we have a unique ability as human beings to self-sabotage, whether it's through our preferred vice or our own self-loathing, when we think, oh man, I'm such a great sinner. We kind of take that prayer at the beginning of mass where we're admitting that we're hypocrites and sinners, saying through my fault, through my fault, through my most grievous fault. And then we leave it at that. Then we leave it at that, and that's all we are. Do we ignore the rest of the mass because of that one part of the mass where we're beating our chest, that one part of that one prayer, before we ask for everyone else's intercession, before we acknowledge that God came down to earth to redeem us, to make us full, to make us whole? I'm called to evangelize. I'm called to preach the gospel, with or without words. But let's be honest, we need the words. St. Francis never said that. He never said preach the gospel and use words if necessary. There's scholars who study the life of St. Francis who are like, he never said that. Like, there's nowhere other than the internet where people are saying that he said that. And that's the thing. We wanna rely so much on our goodness, or our lack of goodness, instead of the grace of God to do all the things that we're supposed to do. So I guess my takeaway from this part is that, I'm called to be a dad, not just in private, but in public. I'm called to be a husband, not just in private, but in public. And I know I've been pretty private about that. I don't really talk about my family as much as I should, because at some point I decided, you know what, like I'm not going to put them out there. I'm not going to put their picture out there. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm not going to say their name. This is just for the guys. But being a husband is my primary identity. Well, being a child of God is my primary identity, but in the order of human love, the love that I have for my wife is the main thing in my life. And if I didn't think that she was an amazing human being that is going to lead me into heaven, I wouldn't have married her. And that is the main love that I'm supposed to be showing in this world, in my capacity as a human being who has decided to answer the call to be a married man. The way I love my kids, that is the way that I am meant to evangelize, given my state in life. Because it's going to be noticeable. I can't just keep it to home or be like, oh yeah, COVID-19, so we're all at home, and the way I treat my family is not really going to affect anything. But the way I treat my family is going to affect everything. And there's such amazing people that I can't help but have them have an effect on me, and the way I do my job, and the way I relate to other people outside of this household. And all of that speaks volumes. And it's pretty funny because I just starting off in this new job, we have all these meetings, and in all these meetings, given the political climate and all that stuff, like we hear all these things that public schools are known for, like being so liberal and this and that. And I can tell you firsthand, like, yeah, that's all out there. And we are in California, so we know the climate is what it is. But still, in my little introductory slide, like I'm able to drop a little bit of faith in there, because of who I am. Like I put a picture of Our Lady of Guadalupe there. I put a picture of this little icon that's just faith, freedom, family. Like I'm out there throwing out the gospel in little portions, so they know, the kids know who they're dealing with. And they know that they're dealing with someone who takes his family life so seriously that he wants to be the kind of teacher that his own kids would have. And all of that, like that's evangelization. We don't have to look that far in order to find it, in order to find an opportunity to do it.
The way we treat people is very, very underrated when it comes to evangelization. I I'm not ghetto, but I'm not like the most refined gentleman, but I am a gentleman nonetheless. I don't know how to describe this, but here it goes. If I go eat somewhere, just basic manners goes a long way. Even like in disagreements, and somebody's being very rude to you, which I don't know where you guys live, and maybe you guys live with a bunch of saints, but where I live, there's a lot of rudeness going around,
Mm-hmm.
and but just how you react to that. When you say, I not to be argumentative, but this is why I disagree. And even if you're gonna walk away from the person, just be like, oh well, it seems like we can't come to a sound I don't know, a sound agreement here, so I'm just gonna step away. Simple things, a thank you, the way you say thank you, the way you open the door for people and let them in.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not as friendly as you are, Adrian, but see, it's kind of hard to describe it. I hate to be this guy that's always patting himself in the back, because I'm really not trying to do that. I'm just trying to share the little seeds that have been planted along the way. Because honestly, it kind of seems effortless to me now. Because I pray every single day that I may be a good reflection of God's love. Maybe that's why I'm not like too embarrassed to share all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Like I dare share that I am a decent human being, that I am a gentleman. When people cut me off on the road, I slow down, I don't honk at them. Why? Because everybody makes mistakes, dude. I've made a bunch of mistakes, and I still make a bunch of mistakes. I'm very kind. I'm very gentle with people. And there's some people that describe me as scary too. Not just at work, but in my personal life. But they know the good side too.
I can identify with that so much. And here's the thing I imagine you as. So, yeah, I imagine you walking up and down like certain aisles, and you're gonna look like the kind of guy that's gonna mow them down if they're still standing there while you're walking on that path. But then they deal with you and they see like the gentleness that is in you. And the reason why I say I can identify with that, it's not because I'm just as unfriendly or whatever. Like, no, you're pretty dang friendly.
I
I would not categorize you as that. And I have gotten some feedback, that man, Ramon sounds really serious. And you sound like more lighthearted. I'm like, dude, like Ramon is freaking hilarious. Like man, you don't know. But no, no, yeah, because I've gotten that feedback about you. I'm like, no, dude, like he's hilarious. You don't even know, like when we're off mic, like we're just,
you don't
but
oh,
yeah, but people will not pick that up if they don't stop and talk to you. And that's the kind of thing that I remember getting, because when I would walk up and down the hallways at the school, it's like some people have told me, goes, yeah, you walk around like you own the place. I'm like, I know, right? Like the short little Mexican like, just walking around like he owns the place. It's like, because I feel like I do. Why? Because I'm here to serve you. I'm here to be the best person I can for you. And they know that, and they know that it's not fake. And I'm like, that's dude, that's just how we operate, man. And I'm not just trying to toot our own horn. Like, it's just who we've become, and it's habitual.
it's bringing that human touch to it. That I'll give you I'll give you an example. I think I've told you already, but um, just in case you guys don't know, Pruno is something. It's a name for a jailhouse uh, made liquor. It's a bunch of spoiled food, and then they get drunk with that. It's so easy to make. Um, yeah, I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So it's a jail, dude. It's a jail. It's a freaking jail. And
Yeah, it
there's a lot of
is.
rude people. There's a lot of stuff going around that, whatever, a very unfriendly environment at times. And some of the inmates that like to test uh, some of us here and there. And for the most part, inmates actually do respect me because I treat them like a human being. And because I'm very rough, but I'm also very fair too. I don't say much, but when little Garcia says no, it means no. And when he says yes, that means it's going to get done eventually within my shift. like whatever it is. And anyway, long story short, sometimes they start getting like really tough with me and like, hey, like you need to give me this. And there goes again with like how you're going to react to certain things, to certain unpleasantries. And I can always say, I don't have to give you anything, because I don't, because it's jail and you're an inmate and you're in here because you committed a crime. Is it all true? Yes. Is it necessary to tell them that? Not always. Sometimes when they ask me for something, it could be anything, something they're entitled to. And then I tell them, well, let me get a little shot of that Pruno, though. And then they get thrown off, like, because what deputy asked them that, you know? And it's not like I'm serious. I'm not serious. I'm not being serious, because I don't, whatever. But just something to lighten up the mood. You get this rude criminal or child molester, and they just like to be jerks sometimes. It's like, hey, you need to give me this. It's like, oh, you got to give me a shot of that Pruno first. And they're like, oh, what Pruno? I don't have no Pruno. It's like, oh, yeah, that's right, because you guys are all nice little Bible scholars, and you guys don't make your own jailmade jailhouse liquor, huh? And it lines up the mood. They may not like me, but they can see, like, they're not going to manipulate me. Why? Because there's something different about the little Mexican guy. Yeah, I'm not rude to them. And I do say, God bless you. I make sure that, I don't want to say every interaction I have, but every spot where I've been at, they've heard me say that to somebody. And it's obvious that I live that, because I'm not a hypocrite about it. Because yeah, even though we have the COVID stuff, I pull down my mask and I look at them straight in the eye and be like, all right, God bless you. And they know it. And I know because I have references. They've told me, like, you treat us like a person. And very few deputies have told us, God bless you. There's still a few of us in there, deputies that are Catholic or Christian, or there's some cool Muslims there too. But, you know, we're there. We're there to serve, like you said, Adrian. You know, I do walk around like I own the place, but not in a cocky way, because I don't live there. That's not my house. But it kind of is my house, because I'm there to serve. Not give them whatever they want, but I'm there to serve a bigger purpose.
So pray for us.
I will pray for you.
Ferrum.
Ferro.
Aquitur.
There's just some dudes that are just fishing because that was their job. You saw
I'm sorry, I'm gonna be really rude, but I can't help but not miss the irony of what you're saying right now. You know, because like we're obviously California guys, and we're like talking about dude, and like he just saw these dudes at the beach, and I had to just mention that because you're saying something like very deep, but I'm a jackass, so I have to just kind of point out that. Dude, like, why am I like this, man? I guess I'm just happy to be recording with you again, man.
Thank you so much for all that.
No problem. It was so essential for the podcast, huh?
Very much so, yeah.